A ladder checkmate is a checkmate which is delivered by using either two queens or two rooks or a queen and a rook. So I know this might look easy to you, right? But you won't believe that a lot of players end up spending 20-30 moves to deliver in such a checkmate because they don't know the right technique. So what is the right technique to deliver this checkmate in the less number of moves? Well, that's what exactly I'm gonna teach you. So you have to move your pieces like a lawnmower moves on the grass. Curious how to do that? Well, then let's move on to the technique part. So first thing first, irrespective of wherever the black king is, our goal is to get this defending king on one of the sides of the boards or in one of the corners of the boards, because once the defending king reaches to one of these places, it will be easy for us to deliver the checkmate. So how do we drive him to one of the sides or the corners? Well, the first step is to position your pieces in such a way that it cuts off the defending king either from a particular file or from a particular rank. Alright, so in this case we can use any of our queens to cut off this defending king from the 5th rank. So let's say I place my queen over here. Now suddenly the defending king doesn't have access to this 5th rank. He's totally cut off from this rank. So where will he go? Probably he will decide to stay on the same rank by moving either here or here. So let's say he moves over here. Now what is the second step? What do we do next? Well, once we have cut off the defending king from a particular file or a rank, the next step is to move both our pieces one by one in such a way that it looks like they are laddering on the board and they are cutting off the defending king further from all these ranks and forcing him to move on one of the sides or the corners. Let's see how it's done. So because we have already used this queen, now it's time to use the other piece. So we are going to move our queen to the 6th rank now, checking the black king. Now as you can see, the defending king is not only cut off from the 5th rank, but now he's also cut off from the 6th rank. So where will he go? He has to go to the 7th rank. Let's say he moves over here. Now what do we do next? Now we are going to use the other piece to force the black king to leave the 7th rank as well and move to the 8th rank. So queen to g7 check. And now the king doesn't have access to both of these ranks, so he's forced to move to the edge of the board. And now you'll use the other piece to deliver the final checkmate because the king has already reached to the side of the board. So queen b8 checkmate. So let's go back and see why is this checkmate called as the ladder mate or as the lawnmower mate. Because just like a lawnmower, you are forcing the defending king to move backwards, you are cleaning up everything and then boom, checkmate. In other words, what you are also doing is you are just laddering your pieces in order to drive the defending king to the edge or to the corner of the board. Now let's try this checkmate one more time, this time with the two rooks. Now let's see how we can cut off the defending king on the files of the board. Alright, so you have two rooks over here. So what do we play over here? Well, you cannot get this rook over here or here because that's not going to be a sensible move. It's just going to be a waste of time. If you get it over here, obviously you are getting captured, so not a sensible move. And if you get it over here, well, you're still on the same, you're just placing both the pieces on the same file, and that's not a good idea because when you're laddering, you need to keep your pieces in different files or different ranks. So that is why I'm not going to use this rook, but I'm going to use this rook. And I'm going to try to cut off the defending king from the d file. So I'm going to play rook to d7. That way I have cut off this black king from the d file. Now either he can move here or he can go backwards slightly towards the side of the board. But since he knows that if he goes to the side or the corner, he's going to get checkmated soon. So probably he will prefer to stay on the c file itself. So he will move over here. Now what do we play next? Now next is we are going to use our other piece and check the black king on the c file. So rook to c2 check. Now the defending king is cut off from the d file as well as the c file. So he's forced to move to the b file. Probably he'll come over here in order to attack your rook. So do not make the mistake of playing this, otherwise your rook is getting captured. So what do we do? Well, let's just play a waiting move. So we'll move our rook to a place where the king is not able to attack. So let's just move our rook farther away from this defending king. So I'm going to move it to the c8 square. Now the king cannot attack any of my rooks. So he plays this, and now what do? Now since this rook is already cutting off the defending king from the c file, we are going to use the other rook to check the black king and cut him off from the b file as well. So rook to b7 check. Now the king is forced to go to the edge of the board, which is the a file, and now what do? Rook to c8, checkmate. It's as simple as that. Now I know this was easy and you've understood it well, so it's time for you to solve this puzzle. Now over here you have a queen and a rook, and you already know the technique of delivering this ladder mate, but the challenge over here is that you have to deliver this mate in just 3 moves. It's white's turn to play, so let me know in the comments box as to what will you play as white to checkmate the black king in just 3 moves. Let me know your answers in the comments box, and I'll see you in the next video.